don't talk about rest. I sleep when I'm dead. Motherfucker wanna come through tripping. Listen,
Welcome everybody to the TruExact Show. I'm here with Brian, Chris, big time Tim Sakura, who we haven't seen since the Sharp Bet days, but he's a bowler, and we decided to have him on for this special guest, PBA Hall of Famer. Too many accolades to go around and go through all of them right now, so we'll just get in there right now. The legend, PETEWEBER. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
I'm doing awesome. People don't know this took about like 2 years to set up, which is so cool how we were able to still get it done, stay in touch. That's how some of these things go, but you just got to keep on it, and it happens. All you kids out there, you're trying to do it. So, Pete, before we get into some questions, I know Tim's got some bowling ones since he's probably the only one here actually in a league and who's decent at bowling. I'll just say, maybe Chris is, but we just want to know, I know you're the son of a former great bowler, so a little bit about your upbringing, and did you get right into it at a young age? Like, how did bowling start for you?
Oh, well, it was pretty easy to get into bowling. My dad, Dick Weber, he actually owned a bowling center. So it was very easy to stay in the bowling center and bowl. You know, he taught all the kids about 4 years old. He taught them how to walk to the foul line and actually throw the ball. We had 6-pound bowling balls that we did use handed down each time. But, you know, by the time I was 11 or 12, I was in the bowling center 7 days a week, 3-4 hours a day, bowling, practicing different releases, different lines, and men's league at 14, first game of men's league, 300.
No way. That actually happened?
I had just signed the application and gave the secretary the letter of consent from my dad and signed the application. First game, 300. Then they decided they were going to hand me $100.
Nice.
Like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, you know, I was, it was pretty fun for me. And so
I have to say, out of all the times I've bowled in my life, which is about 100, I don't think I've accumulated 300 pins total. and you did it your first time.
Don't you?
Oh, I'm horrible. Dude, I am Billy Bumpers, man. I would play with bumpers on. I would request them at the parties. You know how people would throw bowling alley parties? I want to be in the I want to be in the lane with the bumpers. I'm 36 years old. My wife out bowls me. I don't even like going.
Hey, the only do you have fun when you do it?
You know what? I do. I have a good.
That's
I have
all
a
that
swell
matters
time.
right there.
I have a swell time. I'm good at
bars
other things. Yeah, bars open.
Well,
I'm good at other things. Some would even say I'm a couple leg presses away from dunking at basketball. I just can't bowl.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, Scott.
Not even close.
No, like I say, if you don't have fun at something, you don't want to do it. But if you go out and have fun, then you're going to want to do it again. And hey, I've bumper bowled. I had a blast. I had more fun doing that than regular bowling.
What age, and I'll pass it to Tim really quick after this, what age did you realize like you were, was it your first men's league game, or was it when you were like 8 or 9 when you realized you are way better than the kids at your age? I always find that fascinating at what time like professionals find that out.
Well, being from St. Louis, we had our fair share of good junior bowlers when I was growing up too. So, you know, it wasn't like I was better than everybody. It just, I had access to the lanes a little easier, you know, so I had a little more time to practice. Maybe I was a little better in walking through the approach and throwing the ball, but once you let the ball go, it's 100% luck. So, you know, anybody can win at any given time. So it's just a matter if the pin gods are with you that day or not.
That's good to know, so that I still have hope if it's luck.
Absolutely. Everybody's got hope.
He forgot the asterisk. Anybody but you, Scott, can win at bowling.
Whatever. Go on, Tim.
All right, Pete. Real quick, I know you had to idolize your father when you were growing up. Were there any other professional bowlers you looked up to or emulated or wanted to be like?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. When Dad made TV, it was everything came to a stop, and you know. But as soon as he lost, we were about the door back doing what we were ever doing before. So you know, it was. But I saw Mark Roth bowl 299 on TV. I think in '77 or '78. Were you guys born?
No, we weren't.
Oh, okay. But I saw him bowl 299, and my dad was happening to do the color TV that day. And when he got home, I said, I want to bowl like Mark Roth. So we
Nice.
went to the bowling center and did a few things, and that's how I developed my style.
Jeez.
So because I idolized Mark Roth also.
What style in particular differentiates yours from, let's say, somebody like Tim, who's just in a league? No offense, Tim, but you're pretty standard of a bowler, I assume. So like how what differentiates, what approaches did you take that someone might not have, that was like unconventional maybe?
Well, I didn't really do anything different. I mean, I just went out and practiced what I wanted to do, and my dad kept telling me, he said, you're going to be the best in the family. And I just went from there, and I joined the PBA at 17, and dad turned me loose and said, just be yourself. Never changed.
And it worked
I've
out.
been myself all
yeah,
the time.
it worked out. Brian, go on, man.
Now, I have a question for you, but it's bowling a 300 at 14. I mean, I know a lot of people, whenever they get into something, they have some sort of struggle along the way and something that they kind of have to overcome. But I mean, bowling a 300 at 14, I don't know how many struggles you could have had, but did you have anything that you kind of had to overcome, or like you just had a tough time getting through?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's 300 when I had one when I was 12 in a junior league, and that was the hardest thing I ever did, was try to shoot 300. My 12th shot, I left the 2.8. A pin rolled around and took both of them out, and I shot 300. So I got very lucky at that. But after that, I went through, probably I had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 298, 299s before I shot 300. So it's not really that I went through anything. It's just a matter of overcoming the 12th shot and actually getting a break and getting that 300 game.
What about like mechanics wise?
Oh, I've had the same style since since I started on the PBA, maybe even a little before. People told me about my style, said I wasn't going to last till I was 30 years old because of the way I bowled, and here I'm 60 now and still going strong.
Why is that?
I just longevity, I guess. I mean, I don't really have any flaws in my approach. It's very smooth. There's no really herky jerky to it. It's all timed. It's all practiced, and it's probably about 45, 50 years of repeating itself. So it just something that I'm very fluid, and people wish they could be as fluid as I am.
Yeah,
I have something that happens to me anytime I ever bowl. My thumb gets so messed up. I don't know why.
Swells up
Every time.
up, goes down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's various things. It could be the humidity outside. It could be it's too hot in the bowling center. It could be it's too cold in the bowling center, and there's so many different things to make your hand swell and your thumb swell and go back down. It just, sometimes you got to put tape in the thumb, and then like 3 shots later, you're taking tape out of the thumb, so it's just a matter of being able to adjust to each condition that you run into.
Next time I bowl against you, I'm going to tape my thumb up.
I hope your finger gets stuck and it gets taken off. I wish I would have known that, because like my fingers were too fat as a kid, so I would just roll the ball down without putting my fingers in the holes. Like, my friends used to get so mad at me because they said it wasn't real bowling. We had some tech difficulties prior, but Chris is back. I know he had a question. Go on, Chris.
Yeah, I have a question. So I'm a big sports guy in general, and like you look over the course of time and you see how sports evolve over time. from when you started till your recent retirement, how can you say that the game of bowling has evolved?
Oh, the bowling balls have gotten more powerful. The kids have gotten more powerful also with the releases, especially with the two-handed bowlers now.
Okay.
But you know, it's so hard that when I started with rubber bowling balls and plastic bowling balls. And then we progressed to the urethane bowling balls, which started hitting the pins a lot harder than, say, the rubber or plastic bowling balls. And then we went to the reactive resin bowling balls, which were like atomic bombs hitting the pins. You know, and they gave you so much more room. They gave you so much more carry. You know, it probably made some bowlers. It probably took away from some bowlers. So, you know, it's just a matter of, I wish we would have never let the reactive resin bowling balls in. I'm kind of old fashioned, you know, like, all right, let me ask you guys a question. You're sports fanatics.
Mm-hmm.
Why hasn't baseball let an aluminum bat in?
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because how far would they be hitting the ball?
Right.
Also,
They would break the 561-foot record.
Yeah.
You could also happen.
So I would compare it to how tennis rackets might have changed over the years, right?
They allowed aluminum in for a while, and now that's kind of like, it's kind of iffy.
Yeah.
You know, in golf, they take away the square grooves, which I'm sure they got around that somehow.
But that's kind of like anything. When something becomes a little more popular, it could get a little watered down, I guess you could say. And now it's all for ratings, and you know, football, they just want offense. So they make rules just for the offense. Defense is the defense is kind of at, you know, the disadvantage. And I guess they figure people want to tune in and see strikes. They just want to see strikes. So is it a double-edged sword? Did you find like the more it gained popularity, the more rules were put in place or new bowling balls you didn't like?
Well, there's really no rules that have been put in place. It's basically the same rules that we had before.
Yeah.
I don't see any new ones, except now that we're not allowed to use weight holes where we used to have an extra hole in the bowling ball to even the weight out, or make it hook a little more or make it hook a little less, you know, just depending.
Okay.
And now we're not allowed to do that. We're only allowed 2 fingers and a thumb. And then the people that don't use a thumb are just allowed the 2 finger holes with no thumb holes. So, you know, they're trying to make it even for everybody, but they're never going to make it even for everybody.
Right.
I mean, it's just something that's going to go on forever, and it's never going to equal out.
Okay. Tim, go on.
Yeah. So Pete, you won like 100 tour titles over the course of your career. Bunch in the 80s, bunch in the 2000s. Which one was easier? Was it easier back in the day, or is it easier now for you now that technology kind of it helps you a little bit more? Back in the day, when you were a lot younger, I'm sure you didn't need any help at all. But
well,
any idea?
I can't really say it was easy.
Wow.
Because I bowled against Earl Anthony. I bowled against Mark Roth, Marshall Holman. I bowled against Walter Ray Williams Jr., Norm Duke, Parker Bone, Del Ballard. I bowled against Wes Malott. You know, so it's kind of hard to say which era was. None of the eras were easy to win. I mean, you had to work at it. So, but you know, it's just an honor to get to bowl against the Anthonys and Webers and the Belmos and the Dukes and the Bones. You know, it's an honor to bowl any of those guys.
Yeah. When you were young, 15, 14 in the circuit, and you were clearly better than certain competitors who were older, was there any bitterness from the older competitors that somebody so young was so good?
Oh, not around here. No, they were pretty supportive. Most of my friends were older, so
Yeah.
just from hanging out in the bowling center, and so most of my friends were older. So I was very well accepted in the community, even though I was taking their money from them. They were still very accepting of me, and when they could, they would help me out if they saw me struggle. They didn't want to see me not succeed. They wanted to succeed, and they wanted to see me succeed along with them. So, it was kind of neat growing up in St. Louis and having the friends that I did in the bowling community.
That's awesome. So how many times a week did you hustle players who didn't know that you were that good?
Well, we didn't really have like big jackpots. We had jackpots that we bowled like on Thursday afternoon. Might get 15 guys, put up $20, and then you'd have your little side bets, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights we'd have sweepers, 6-game sweepers, top 5, maybe pay $300, $400, $500, depending on the guy, how many guys showed up. But it was always a fun time, and I got some head-to-head match game experience out of that. I got the top 5. I got qualifying experience out of that. So it was neat to grow up and bowl tournaments, at 14, 15, 16 years old and get the experience I needed before I went out on tour.
Yeah, it seems it's cool. You got a cool support system too. I feel like that's very important at that age.
Well, it is, because I had guys that were behind me encouraging me to go out there. Oh, you're gonna suck. You ain't gonna go out there and do anything. You're just gonna go out there and blow the money. So, it's kind of nice sometimes to prove those guys wrong.
Oh, phenomenal! Yeah, can't wait to do it myself.
Get on them. Get on them.
So I know when all of our friends have gone bowling before, it does get competitive and you kind of have this little grudge. Did you ever have someone that you would call your rival?
Everyone. Everyone. You beat me, you got lucky.
Nice.
Walter Ray's always been a big rival of me. I had a few guys here in St. Louis that were Leroy Barnhob, Randy Lightfoot, maybe a name of the past that you guys might have heard of. But I've had some rivalries. So Norm Duke, but Norm Duke's a fun rivalry because we love each other, so it doesn't matter.
So it never got too vicious with Norm.
No.
That's good. You never want to hear that. Go on, Chris.
So I've watched some of your tape, and it seems like you're a bowler who bowls a passion. So I'm going to go back to your iconic quote, "Who do you think you are? I am." And even your more recent quote, "You might love me or hate me, but you watched and that's all you could do." Do you think about like getting a quote like that before you say it? Or are you just like running with so much emotion that it just comes out so iconic?
Well, the "Who do you think you are? I am" quote, that was kind of an adrenaline rush. It was supposed to, "Who do you think you are? Bleep, bleep in my house." So, but it just came out the wrong way, but it came out a wrong way in a good way. So,
yeah.
And the quote, "Love me or hate me, you're going to watch anyway." It's just a quote. You love me, you hate me, you're going to watch it anyway, just to see what I do. If you love me and watching, it's because you like what I do. If you hate me and watch, it's because you want to see what I'm going to do.
True. It's kind of like McEnroe in the 80s.
I just feel like you have two of the most iconic quotes.
Exactly. And when he was playing tennis, everybody tuned in because they wanted to see what he was going to do next. So, that's why I say if you hate me, you're going to watch anyway, just to see what I do next.
To piggyback off of Chris's question, how quickly did you realize how viral, if you will, to use that term, that quote became? Was it a day? Was it like a week you realized, oh, what happened here? It
It was about a day. I mean, by the time I got home, because I drove home after that show, and so I really wasn't watching TV for a day. So when I got home and I started getting a bunch of texts, hey, you're on Sports Center, so I turned it on. And then it was kind of like I was on the St. Louis show, and then other people from other cities were saying, hey, you made our news with your quote. So it became kind of a famous quote.
It's great though.
It's
Like
still famous now.
Yeah.
Hey,
I just saw it on my phone yesterday. It just popped up.
I heard it on WrestleMania this year. When who was on? No, it was The Miz, and who was it? Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
Threw a bowling ball into the guys, and the guy.
That was Sami Zayn. That was
Who do you think you are? I am. I just made the 7-10 split. So it's kind of cool. In WrestleMania, come on,
it's pretty awesome.
I've heard it on a couple songs, so it's kind of cool.
That I think it is awesome too, because it and maybe not how you want it, but it did draw attention to bowling on ESPN, and I believe the great Gary Thorne made the call, if I'm not mistaken. So
could have been.
I think it was Gary Thorne. Yeah, he was great with hockey too.
That's 10 years ago, man. My memory about that. I remember
know.
about the game. I don't. And Randy Peterson, I remember that. I think it was Dave Ryan. I think he was there. It was either Rob Stone or Dave Ryan.
It's Rob Stone.
Rob Stone.
Rob Stone. Right. Tim, you're our resident bowler.
Yeah.
As I like to say, I stink. I've never been good at bowling. It's the lane's fault, not mine.
It always is. They didn't put enough oil down. Always blame it on the oil machine.
Yeah. Although I do enjoy the shoes. I find comfort in going up and renting bowling shoes. I enjoy it a lot. It's a weird thing of mine. I even rent them when I'm not. Yeah, when I'm not bowling, I'll just go sit at the alley and rent shoes.
I don't think that's something you want to admit to, Scott.
Well, it's already done. It's out in the open.
Let that be publicly known.
It's out in the open, and it is what it is. So, Tim, do you have any questions as far as what you could do to improve your game?
Oh, I know what I should do. I should probably not drink before I bowl, or drink while I'm bowling, or do any of that stuff. But
what fun would that be?
Yeah,
exactly. That's the whole point. But here's my thing is, I'm a decent average. Maybe I'm averaging between 215 and 220.
All right.
And all the people that I bowl with are a little bit worse than that, or a little bit better. And they're like, oh, but you should go pro. You should go pro. And I try to tell them, I'm like, guys, you don't understand the difference between a house shot, what we normally bowl on, and what the pros actually have to bowl on. And it's night and day. And they just don't get it. We bowl 3 games a night, and afterwards my arm is killing me. I'm like, guys, I can't bowl 25 games in a week, in a weekend. No, it's never going to happen. Pete, can you just let the regular bowlers know that it's just like any other profession. If you could do it once, you could bowl 300 once, but you're never going to do it every time, type of deal.
Pete, let Tim's team know he stinks and he'll never go pro, is what he's saying.
Don't worry, I'll let my mom know.
Hey, I bowl league too. I bowl on Mondays. I average 235. On Wednesdays, I think I average I'm getting handicap on Wednesday nights.
Nice.
I still can't get over that, but I was getting 25 pins in that league at one point. That's how bad I was. 590 the first 2 weeks. You get a lot of pins when you do that. But when you're bowling league, you're bowling on the same shot every week. You know exactly what to do. You know exactly where to play the lanes. So, you're bowling on the same shot every week. You should average 215, 220 or better or worse, whatever you think you should be doing. But out on tour, I mean, there's different lengths of the oil we use. Sometimes we use 32 feet of oil. Sometimes we use 36 feet of oil, 39, 42, 45. There's 50 feet of oil. And the longer the oil, the harder it is. The shorter the oil, the harder it is. It's so different because we don't use as much oil as, say, the house shot uses. Our mills are a lot less out there. They might be 3-to-1 instead of like 6 or 7-to-1. So, it's just so much more adjusting out there, and you're adjusting in 3 games, not bowling the same way for 3 games. You're changing bowling balls, maybe in the second game, maybe in the third game. You're changing your line in the third game, maybe the fourth game, depending on the transitions of the way the oil moves down the lane. There's so many variables that are in today's game that 40 years ago wasn't.
Yeah.
You didn't have to worry about, well, I got to go from this asymmetrical ball to this other ball to this real weak bowling ball to this real strong ball. You had 2 balls to choose from, a strike ball and a spare ball. And now it's just so much scientific stuff going on with bowling. And sometimes I just don't understand.
You don't seem like an analytic guy. Like baseball has incorporated all these analytics. You just want to go out there and bowl.
I throw the ball. I don't like the way the ball reacted on the lane. Then I'm probably going to put it away and try a different bowling ball.
Now,
That's my philosophy of bowling.
When you were, just a couple more questions for me. When you were younger and you were able to obtain your own bowling ball, did you have any cool thing inside? Like I've seen people with roses in them or skulls, or did you just have a plain bowling ball?
No. Back then they didn't really, in the 60s and early 70s, they didn't have that
Nothing.
stuff.
Now
I had 2 stars on my bowling ball, 2 black bowling ball, 2 yellow stars.
So another thing, when I would bowl with my friends, we'd go midnight bowling. Just random question here. They call me Big Burgundy. I like the burgundy bowling ball. So what color ball would you prefer if you were at the rack and like saw it? I know it's a random question. I just need to know that.
Oh, I'm partial to like the orange ones.
Solid.
I don't know why.
I think everyone liked the orange ones when they were growing up too.
Line just doesn't cut it. And the burgundy, that's kind of like blah.
Well,
At least the orange got a little color to it.
You know what I used to do? I would try to find the lightest ball possible because I could throw that one the hardest.
Well,
Yeah.
usually the orange ones are like 6, 8, 10 pounds. So, and then you can throw them with like 2 fingers and try to hook it. So I like those a little more too.
Meanwhile, the children's party is looking for the light bowling balls, and professional bowler PETEWEBER has them all.
Yeah, I got them all on lane 1. Come down. You $5 a ball.
Yeah. He's hustling these kids for birthday cake.
Hey, kid, give me your present.
Yeah. We'll do one more quick round table, then Pete will let you go. Chris, go on, man, if you got anything else.
Yeah, so I've seen that a lot of the celebrities have done these celebrity bowling matches, like Mookie Betts. I've seen Steph Curry, Chris Paul. How do you think that impacts the game of bowling? Like, are you a fan of these other athletes, celebrities doing these bowling tournaments, or do you think?
Absolutely. I think it's great. It's not just because they want to do it. They're doing it for a charity. And so they're raising money for charity, whether like CP3, he does it for the CP3 Foundation.
Yeah.
And, all the money that goes to that tournament, like all the tickets bought, all the alcohol sold, all the food sold, everything goes to his charity. So it's not like they're doing it just for fun. They're doing it for charities. The Jimmy Allen, he did it for charity too. So, and he put on a concert right before the TV show was on, or it might have been televised also. But, those things are awesome. They really are, because they see us in a different way. We see them in a more relaxed way. out of their, element. We're still in kind of ours, but in a different way,
Mhm.
So we're there to entertain, we're there to have fun, and we're there to raise money for his charity.
I got a follow-up question to that real quick. So you've seen them play, obviously. Like, have you been to any of the events?
Oh yeah, I did the CP3 tournament for a long time.
Do you think any of them has a chance at going pro? Like, if they wanted to be on tour with you, do you
Or
think
who-
anyone has a
yeah.
shot?
Mookie Betts is the only one that I think could be professional.
Okay.
He actually bowled the World Series of Bowling one year in Reno, Nevada.
Okay.
And that was like 4 different tournaments going on. Like one day was, say, the cheetah pattern tournament. The next day was the scorpion. The next day was the shark. The next day was a chameleon. But on one of those patterns, he actually shot 300 game.
Wow.
And he has made the cut in a couple tournaments. He won the CP3 tournament with Tommy Jones.
Okay.
So, he can play. He bowls league. He has several 300 games. So, yeah, I mean, a couple of guys I bowled with. I bowled with Nelly.
Okay.
I actually bowled league and that Nelly hosted.
He's from
Here in
St.
St.
Louis.
Yeah.
He's from St. Louis. Yeah.
And he hosted a league on Thursday nights in the summer, and
That's awesome.
I bowled in that. And I actually got to bowl him one night, and he needed 6 pins to beat me. He threw 5 to tie. I'd never seen anybody run off the approach that fast out the door and get in their car and leave. He was so embarrassed because all his friends, "Oh, you suck, Nelly."
So yeah,
kind of fun.
To touch on, so Mookie Betts was probably the best celebrity athlete bowler you've ever seen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, as far as seeing them in like an event like that, like a Chris Paul event or a Jimmy Allen event, there's other oh gosh, the guy from the Steelers, running back.
Jerome Bettis.
Jerome Bettis. I bowled with him in a pro-am. He shot 298, a natural 298. I mean, he threw 11 strikes and then got 8 on his fill ball. But he threw it pretty good.
That's cool.
I wish I could name.
No, that's cool.
Guys,
That's cool to hear, though. It's nice to see a guy like Mookie Betts could hit like 330, have all the talent in the world, and just pick up a bowling ball and be able to bowl 300.
300.
It's cool to
crazy.
Cool to see.
They say he's the most well-rounded athlete in all the sports.
Yeah. Go on, Tim.
Time out.
Go on, Orioles fan. Go on.
All right. First of all, we haven't give Pete a baseball bat to see what he could do on the diamond, right? So maybe
Or a
it could go
mic
both
to
ways.
see if he could out-rap Nelly. I mean, it could go.
Probably not.
Oh.
Probably not.
Go on, Tim.
I got a couple more things, but this is the first one. I think Pete will get the reference, but if not, I'll remind him.
Oh boy, what are you doing? This wasn't part of the script.
Oh,
Okay, I don't know.
Vision.
Okay, I don't know what's happening. Explain.
I don't know what's happening either.
It's
So
the underground
I
bowl.
believe it. I believe it was last year. You came into New Jersey and bowled some action bowling down with our buddy Dougie on Dougie Vision.
Delaware, right?
Delaware? Yeah.
Delaware. It was the UVA, the underground
Yeah.
bowling.
Yep. And Pete,
Dougie Vision.
Dougie Vision, that's right. You
Yeah,
gotta look
still
up.
got the hat too.
Yeah, there you go. I figured he would like the reminder. Did you have any fun doing that? I know you were in some action matches. I don't,
Yeah, I had a blast. I mean, that was fun to see everybody give everybody so much trouble while they were bowling, like all the trash talking and stuff. And as soon as they were done bowling, they were in the bar having drinks with each other and just having a great time. It was cool to see. The action I bowled was just fine. One guy gave me a little trouble, and so I had to answer back, but told me I got lucky one shot. So I put the next 2 shots, 10 in the pit, 10 in the pit, and turned around and said, "Oh, I guess I got pretty lucky on those too." But I wound up winning my match, and then me and Kyle Troop bowled Dougie and somebody else, and me and Kyle couldn't bowl 190. And Dougie shoots 260 at us. So they beat us in the doubles thing.
All right, and then just the last question. Are you PBA 60 this year? Or is
Oh, absolutely.
sweet.
Absolutely. We lost one in Jackson, Michigan, because we're having a World Series of bowling there this year for the seniors. But I got the senior, super senior masters, the one at Wayne Webb's, and there's one more somewhere. I can't remember where.
Wishing you the best of luck, although apparently you don't need it.
Oh yeah, I'm the older I get, the more luck I need.
It was quick to say Delaware. Have you been to New Jersey to bowl? Are you a fan of our state?
Yeah.
Yeah, big fan. Okay.
Carolier Lanes, yeah. 3 U.S. Opens there, dude.
Okay. Just
That's where my grandparents used to bowl.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Pete probably beat the shit out of them in bowling.
Probably. I don't know. My grandma was pretty good. She bowled in the church.
What happened to you?
I don't know. I'm not good at it.
Yeah, go on, Brad. Last round.
I'd say all you got to do is have fun, and you'll want to
100%.
Exactly. I don't have anything else.
I do have one thing, and then we'll let you go. I swear to God. All right, it's an apocalypse, and you have to grab one trophy that you've won in your life, like the one you hold the dearest. Which one are you grabbing before you head out the door?
The eagle they replaced, the one I dropped on the approach.
Okay.
So I got a new one of those. That's the one I grab.
I'm
Or
actually-
Scott, you'll have to watch the highlight.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed how quick he answered it. Honestly, like he was ready for that one. He didn't even have to think. Like
That's the first time I've had that question ever asked.
That's what we do here. Sometimes we break the mold, right? I like to
That's
say that
all
about
right.
us. So just remember that. If you ever get asked that again, say that's the second time I asked. First time was by this schmuck from New Jersey who makes hip hop music. So
That's all right. All right. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it, guys. This was a little different for me, but yeah, what a good time it was.
Yeah.